of coronavirus cases in Los Angeles County comes to 1,120,895. The confirmed number of deaths reaches 16,854. Here in Torrance, the total number of confirmed cases is 6,090, with total confirmed deaths at 143. We anticipate the Torrance numbers to change as the county updates its last 24-hour operating period. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Leslie Robbins. It's 4 p.m. on the first day of February. Close to 13,000 new COVID-19 cases were reported in LA County over the weekend, and another 4,223 cases were added today. A total of 525 people lost their lives due to the coronavirus since Saturday. There are more than 5,300 people hospitalized with COVID-19. 27% of them are in the ICU and 24% are on ventilators. Public health officials detected a second case of that variant that was initially found in the United Kingdom. They say the presence of the B.1.1.7 variant in LA County means that virus transmission can happen more easily. They urge Angelenos to follow all safety measures, especially as more businesses reopen. The county also saw 4 additional cases of multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, or commonly referred to as MIS-C. It is also associated with COVID-19. Symptoms include fever that does not go away and inflamed body parts, including the brain, heart, lungs, and kidneys. If you believe your child has these symptoms, public health officials say you should contact your primary care or urgent care provider and seek emergency care for critical or life-threatening conditions. 66 children in LA County have now been reported to have had this syndrome. Latino children account for nearly 74% of the reported cases. There's growing evidence that shows California's latest stay-at-home order and dining ban did help to save lives. Health experts say the state saw sudden and drastic improvements to COVID-19 related deaths and illnesses because of the recent 2-month shutdown. For example, LA County saw transmission rates drop from 1.2 to 0.85 before and after the stay-at-home order. Anything above 1 means an outbreak will grow exponentially. State officials say as many as 25,000 people were kept out of hospitals with severe cases of the coronavirus because of the change in behavior during this time period. Non-essential travel and outdoor social gatherings were prohibited, and hair and nail salons, museums, and outdoor dining were closed. Although scientists can't say which part of the order was the most effective in curbing the spread, multiple public health experts agree that the outdoor dining ban probably played a key role. They say people can't keep their masks on while eating outdoors, and it would be difficult to stay 6 feet apart from each other at the same table. They're also more likely to spend over an hour in that close proximity. These alone violate 3 basic principles of risk reduction. Now that outdoor dining is back in LA County, experts warn Angelenos to stay vigilant as cases are still high and more contagious strains could make it easier to catch the virus. The COVID-19 death toll among Latinos in LA County is reaching levels that health officials say is horrifying. In November, the average number of COVID-19 deaths per day among Latinos in LA County over a 2-week period was 3.5 per 100,000 people. Compare that to the latest data, which shows that there are 40 deaths per 100,000 people. LA County Public Health Director Dr. Barbara Ferrer says that's an increase of more than 1,000%. She says this segment of the population is bearing the worst of the pandemic, with many getting sick on the job and bringing the virus home, where multiple generations may be living in tight spaces. The number of Latino residents in LA County dying from COVID-19 is almost 3 times as many as those who are white. Health officials are calling for the government to do more to help essential workers and people living in overcrowded conditions. Meanwhile, promotoras who are speaking Spanish in the community health workers, they have been going door to door and holding virtual events to help educate more Latinos about COVID-19 and the currently available vaccines. All travelers on airplanes and public transportation now need to wear a face mask. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued a mask-wearing rule after President Joe Biden ordered government agencies to immediately take action to require masks in airports, on commercial aircraft, trains, and all public transportation. The CDC says this new rule will protect Americans and provide confidence that we can once again travel safely even during this pandemic. The 11-page order takes effect starting today. While airlines and most public transportation services already require passengers to wear a mask, the CDC order could make it easier for flight attendants and others to enforce it, since it's now a violation of federal law and violators could face civil or criminal penalties. The order allows passengers to take off their masks during brief periods, like if they have to eat, drink, or take medication. The only exceptions to the mandate are for travelers younger than 2 years old and those with certain medical conditions. Torrance transit riders are also required to wear masks. The CDC also issued a guidance to help keep people safe this Super Bowl Sunday. The agency recommends watching the Super Bowl at home with those who also live there. Here are some tips on how to hold a virtual Super Bowl watch party. People can wear clothing or decorate their home with their favorite team's logo or colors, make appetizers or snacks, and share recipes with family and friends, and start a text group with other fans to chat while watching the game. If people still plan to host a party, the CDC says do it outside, where viewers can sit 6 feet apart, wear a mask, avoid direct contact such as handshakes and hugs, and use noisemakers instead of cheering. The LA County Public Health Department's revised health order also does not allow breweries, restaurants, and wineries to show the Super Bowl game or broadcast any other programs on televisions and other screens. They must remain off until further notice. The Kansas City Chiefs take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium in Florida this Sunday, February 7th. The long-anticipated Johnson & Johnson vaccine is a step closer to getting emergency authorization in the U.S. The company released promising new data about its single-shot vaccine. Results from its phase 3 trial shows that the vaccine is 66% effective in preventing moderate and severe disease and 85% effective overall at preventing hospitalization and death in all regions where it was tested. The trial takes place around the world, including Latin America, South Africa, and the United States. The efficacy against moderate and severe disease was the highest in the U.S. at 72%. In South Africa, 95% of cases in the trial were due to the more contagious variant called B1351. The vaccine may not be as effective on this strain. Researchers say those who got moderate COVID cases in the trial tended to develop milder and fewer symptoms. The technology used in this COVID-19 vaccine has worked with the Ebola vaccine as well. Johnson & Johnson's vaccine is the only COVID-19 vaccine so far that requires just one shot. It can also be stored at regular refrigerated temperatures, unlike Pfizer or Moderna, which require much colder conditions. Johnson & Johnson plans to request an emergency use authorization from the Food and Drug Administration earlier this month. The company hopes to get 1 billion of its shots into people's arms this year worldwide, and the U.S. is set to receive 100 million of those doses. Well, Dodger Stadium, one of the largest COVID-19 vaccination sites in the country, had to shut down temporarily over the weekend due to protesters causing a scene at its entrance. The demonstrators included those from the anti-vaccine and far-right groups. Some carried signs denouncing the COVID-19 vaccine and yelled at people to not get their shots. Others told people waiting in line that the coronavirus is not real and that the vaccine is dangerous. The LA Fire Department closed the entrance to the stadium at about 2 p.m. for about an hour on Saturday. Several LA Police Department officers responded to the scene, but no arrests were made. One person who was there that day to get his shot says he's waited for weeks to get an appointment, and what the protesters were saying is completely wrong. The 55-minute interruption did not lead to appointment cancellations for that day. The site reopened shortly before 3 p.m. and continued administering the vaccines to those who have been patiently waiting in line, some for several hours. Governor Gavin Newsom tweeted that, quote, "California is working around the clock to provide life-saving vaccines to those on the front lines of this pandemic. We will not be deterred or threatened." A new safety change will be put in place where protesters can gather without getting in the way of those coming to get vaccinated. The stadium is open 6 days a week, and up to 12,000 people are expected to get their shots every day. California's Department of Motor Vehicle resumes its behind-the-wheel driving tests statewide today. In-person tests were put on hold back in mid-December due to the recent surge in COVID-19 cases. Those who had to cancel their tests will automatically be rescheduled for a new appointment. The DMV issued a statement saying drivers and future drivers who are affected by the temporary closure will be notified by text to pick another date and time. New appointments will become available in mid-February. The DMV is limiting how many people can enter an office at a time and require temperature checks for those taking the behind-the-wheel tests. Officials say car windows will be cracked open and instructors will use seat covers. As restaurants reopen for outdoor dining and more people are getting vaccinated, public health officials are growing increasingly worried that too many people are letting their guards down too soon. LA County Public Health Director Dr. Barbara Ferrer says she thinks we can look forward to things becoming more normalized in the fall, but warns that wearing masks and social distancing are among the protective measures that should remain in place even then. She adds that the next 2 months are critical. Case numbers are still high, vaccine is in short supply, and new coronavirus variants are posing new threats. She urges Angelenos to continue keeping their guards up and proceed with great caution as the economy opens back up. Public health officials shared a new community order in response to the recent surge as businesses reopen. Updated protocols are in place, including for outdoor dining. Those who don't comply will face citations. They say rushing the reopening process without taking the proper precautions could cost everyone dearly. They remind all LA County residents who qualify to visit vaccinateLAcounty.com to sign up for vaccination appointments. So far, around 800,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been distributed. More than 2 million people are currently qualified to get the vaccine, including frontline healthcare workers, long-term facility residents and workers, and those who are 65 and older. A beloved 100-year-old British veteran who has been campaigning to raise money for healthcare workers during the pandemic is hospitalized with COVID-19. Captain Tom Moore, who was being treated for pneumonia at home before testing positive. His daughter tweeted that he went to the hospital on Sunday after having difficulty breathing. Moore is being treated at a hospital about an hour north of London and so far has not required intensive care. The veteran served in World War II and gained global recognition last April when he announced that he will walk 100 laps around his yard before his 100th birthday to raise money for the United Kingdom's National Health Service workers. Well, his target was 1,000 pounds, which is equivalent to just over $1,300 US. But he raised more than 38 million pounds, which, when you do the math, comes close to 52 million US dollars. He finished his walking goal using a walker in a televised event surrounded by a military honor guard. Captain Tom now has almost 350,000 followers on Twitter. That's a lot. He recently tweeted on New Year's Eve, quote, "If I've learned one thing from this year, it's that it is never too late to start something new and make a difference, especially if it brings light and life to people around the world." Students in Torrance are returning to school classrooms starting today. Those in the blended TK to first grade went back to on campus this morning. The Torrance Unified School District shared these photos from Victor Elementary School, saying school is back in session. These kiddos are ready to learn with their teachers and their friends. The students got their temperatures checked before stepping back onto their campus. They kept their social distance both inside and outside their classroom. Victor Viking also joined them for class. School officials say he missed the students' smiling faces and was happy to welcome them back. Second graders in the blended program will return to their classrooms next Monday. Well, before we go, at the end of each program, we like to share stories from our community. Feel-good pictures, images, and videos that remind us of how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. February is Black History Month, and to help celebrate, the Torrance Public Library is hosting a free virtual event called African Batik Artwork and Storytelling with Langala Rubadiri. It takes place next Tuesday, February 9th on Zoom. Participants can learn about this unique art style and hear stories that reflect universal values of family, friends, peace, love, hope, and happiness. To join the presentation, you can email sbuehler@torranceca.gov by February 7th. What a great way to celebrate this important time of year. Now, if you have a great story or photo, video you'd like to share, email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that is our update for COVID-19 today. Join us again tomorrow as Rhiannon Trutanich brings you the latest. Please be safe, stay healthy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.